A Hairier Problem by Blue Bastard. Chapter 5. From Dawn Till Dusk. As the alarm clock rang, a very steady white hoof emerged from the bed to try and silence it. Unfortunately, the first few attempts were misses, and just slammed to the bedside table. And on try 7, the only thing that was accomplished was knocking the alarm clock onto the floor. With a heavy sigh, Slee dressed herself up and out of bed to silence the bells once and for all. Now that she was up, she lazily made her way to the bathroom to prepare for the day. While she did have an excuse to miss out on school this morning, and decided the trip to Whitetail Woods having somehow made her finally ill, to do so would mean she would not be able to hang out with Skulu and Applebloom later, with the added concern of just what the latter filly had become 2 nights ago. Slee couldn't let the airplane get out of her sight if she could help it. Tied up and ready to go, Slee descended the steps with her saddlebags, ready for school. While she picked up breakfast, to her surprise, Rarity was already downstairs and talking with someone the filly had never seen before. The unfamiliar unicorn mare was raspberry in color, with a mane of sky blue and light purple streaks and eyes of deep maroon. There's something that seemed a bit odd about the streaks, but Slee ignored it and chalked it up to being somewhat sleepy. The mare's cutie mark caught Slee's eye next. It was a baby blue heart gem with 3 other colors of gems radiating away from it on either side. Then the filly saw the phoenix sitting on top of a dress-form mannequin. She certainly seen Celestia's pet phoenix, Philomena, before, but this one was clearly different. Instead of the usual coloration, this fiery bird, clearly a male by his mannerism, was coated in a brilliant mix of gold and green. A balefire phoenix? No, guys. I said I was going to read Fallout Equestria when I quit this job. That ain't happening. It was also much smaller than Philomena, puzzling not having gone through his first reincarnation cycle, but certainly well beyond just having has from an egg.
Wow, never seen a phoenix like that before,
sighed Slee, demonstrating complete ignorance of the conversation in the same room. The bird was startled, jumping up from his perch on one of Rarity's helpers, rapidly flying over the perch on the horn to the raspberry unicorn, certainly the owner of the phoenix.
Sweetie Belle!
Sighed Rarity.
I know I told you before about how rude it is to both yell at other ponies who are talking and when you're near easily assaulted pets.
She glanced over at Opal, who was hissing at the youngest unicorn from under the sewing machine table.
Sorry,
apologized the downcast filly, before parking right back up.
It's your friend!
Oh, don't mind me, said the still unnamed unicorn, an embarrassed blush visible throughout her coat. Slee immediately thought of Fluttershy doing the same thing, even letting a bird perch on her horn, if she had been a unicorn, not a Pegasus.
Now, darling, it's just my sister, Rarity explained. Sweetie Belle, this is Raspberry Barrow. She's a gemologist by trade and has been absolutely invaluable to me as of late in finding the exact kind of precious gems I need.
Raspberry blushed hard at the compliment.
It's just what I'm good at, really. I'm just glad I could be of use.
Slee, deciding to apply dealing with Fluttershy tactics, changed to talk to the animals.
Is that Phoenix your pet?
Uh-huh. His name's Heliodar. Say hello, Healy. The phoenix cooed cautiously, worrying the filly that just scared him.
Oh. Sweetie, don't you have some breakfast to get?
Interrupted Rarity.
I know you said you were feeling sick after the camping trip yesterday, but you look healthy enough to resume your education, and school is in 30 minutes.
Said Slee Belle, trying out to the kitchen. There was a momentary silence before Raspberry spoke up.
So, that's your little sister? Oh yes, she can be quite a handful, but I do manage to find ways of making the most of the time she is with me. With you? I don't understand. You mean she goes to other places? Well, my parents just live on the other side of town, and are her legal guardians. They just leave her here with me more often because I should be an influence on her life, although at this point I have to say I spent more time with her than our parents.
Raspberry looked downcast suddenly.
I see. At least you have family. My mother died giving birth to me, her only child. And Dad.
Rarity immediately detected something was amiss.
Raspberry, something the matter? You can always talk to me about anything. Anything at all.
An explosion promptly came from the kitchen.
Dang! Just make a toast!
It's a disembodied voice of Slee Belle. The red unicorn's eyes suddenly went wide as she raised her head, Heliodar taking flight as if a practice maneuver.
Oh no! I just remembered someplace I need to be. We'll talk next time I'm delivering an order to you, but I really need to go.
With that, Raspberry was out the door with Heliodor in tow. Looking at her legs Fastanisa, wondering just what the matter was, before remembering herself that sleep may have just destroyed her kitchen. Her recently, inexpensively remodeled kitchen. Ready to decide. This was going to be a long, long day. Sandalwood may as well have been standing on Whitehall coals. She was still visiting. Sakura sent a message that she had to reschedule when she could do a aromatherapy session due to the sudden need to repair a trail protection totem. As it so happened, Sunday would have been a perfect day for giving Sakura the aromatherapy, as Lotus and Aloe hadn't been able at the spa. Now it was Monday. The stock of materials sounded were lower than she initially thought, and the spa twins were at the spa today. The poor Tianmoni had just told her about what was going to happen.
The aromatherapy. Are you trying to pull something here?
Inquired on the right, Lotus.
You just told us that the price of materials is 40 by the business had gone up, and now you're essentially wasting our revenue.
There's one thing Sandalwood absolutely hated about her job, was that Lotus and Aloe took a lot of convincing to see beyond her point of view.
Honestly, with the way you have been acting lately, how do we know you didn't already reduce your materials yesterday when we were here?
Accused Aloe, just as antagonistic as her twin. You know, I so rarely get a chance to do Aloe and Lotus that it's hard to get their voices just right. Because that's exactly what I wanted to do, in order to avoid this very conversation, thought Sandalwood, doing her best not to show off how pissed off she was getting. Lotus, Aloe, I told you. This is for some boy who says he can help me get what I need at a lower cost, but...
And you didn't run it by us first?
Said both twins at once. I tried to, but you weren't here yesterday. So this is me running by you now, because this is the first time I've seen you two since Friday. I hoped I'm not interrupting indeed, said Sakura, who appeared without warning at the servant's window. But I'm here on deck, as we agreed.
Oh, Miss Sakura, we weren't expecting you.
The twins said, a somewhat creepy innocent. Lotus then turned back to Sandalwood.
Why didn't you tell us you were doing this free thing for her?
What do you think I've been trying to do this entire time? Argued Sandalwood, exasperated for the dissonance of her employers.
Oh, well, I'm mistaken then.
Pseudo apologized Lotus. Sandalwood just sighed before exiting the front office. Knowing trying to get a real apology out right with him would be an exercise of frustration. Whatever. I just want to make sure I can still do my job with the proper materials. Sakura, if you could come with me? Sandalwood led her see her client into the room and back, to which the customer was meant to look like a luxury beach house port on the coast of some tropical location, such as Huvalalu. After helping Sakura get onto the massage table, the aromatherapist quickly darted to a kitchen back room where various oils, diffusers, and other materials were stored without having to clear the main massage area and room it to the desired effect. Now, if at any point you don't feel comfortable, just let me know, okay? If you're as good as advertised, then I've got no worries to disguise. You seem in tune with your vocations, and I look forward to your creations. Really, Sandalwood set to work. Aromatherapy in general is really just a massage, but enhanced in various ways by scented oils and things that were supposedly worked into the skin by the practitioners themselves. Normally, Sandalwood offered various different types of sessions at different prices depending on what the customer wanted, the price being higher for the more things required. Of course, due to the situation at Hove, Sandalwood was giving Sakura her most expensive session, which was basically everything aromatherapy could provide, free of charge. Ironically, while the basic thing aromatherapy was supposed to do provide stress relief to the massage itself, Sandalwood was becoming more stressed as she watched her already limited supplies dwindle, some of them even being completely used up on Sakura. If the same were going to replicate those, it was going to be a big chunk on the Tianpoi's salary down the drain. 90 minutes later, Sandalwood was finished with her expensive demonstration. I feel as if I've been reborn, said Sakura, smiling and feeling better than she had in years. As fast as you do on the first light of Mole. Great. I gave you the complete work, so I appreciate the feedback, replied Sandalwood, happy at having another satisfied customer, but also more a little worried about the state of the real reason for having done all this. Since the airplane's desperation, Sakura just chuckled. Really not. I'll provide what you require. I hate to see you as straight so dire.
Really?
Fiddle's tired smile was rivaling Pinkie Pie at this point. The zebra smiled. I'll need small samples for distincts to ensure the closely matching scent. But all will be well, I promise you. There's no need to be worried or blue. Besides, that catalyst either suits you.
You do have a point there,
agreed the embarrassed former therapist. Inside, however, she was jumping for joy. She get the things she needed luckily. Whatever leverage Sakura had on the twins might also provide helpful later on. Right now, however, Sandalwood was thinking about taking a much-needed break from work for all of next week. As Royal Guard Private Flash Sentry stood a guard in front of a vault door deep beneath the Crystal Castle, he had to wonder why life as a guard seemed so appealing. Sure, had been pretty good when he enlisted, but by the time he was allowed to actually be a part of the details stationed at the castle, all the exciting stuff had been already over, and all he had gotten to do was announce the arrival of Princess Twilight Sparkle. He ran into her a few times. Probably would have asked her out on a date had she not been, well, a newly crowned royal who was caught up in trying to claim a crown that was stolen right under everybody's noses. The name of the culprit, Sunset Shimmer, seemed vaguely familiar somehow. The Flash didn't put too much stock in it. Probably some pony he once known as a classmate years ago. What he should have put more thought into was that drunken bet he made last night on challenging any other pony guard on Royal Protection Detail to a drinking contest, especially about backing out when none other than Princess Cadence herself showed up to answer the challenge. How she got away with that, he'll never figure it out. Probably humiliating him by winning. She then punishing him for being so stupid by deciding to guard some random vault in the basement. The worst assignment possible. Yet he resolved to make up for his deficiency and would guard the door with his life. Fate was at least kind to him, and he never knew that he had already failed his duty as a ghostly figure leaped through the walls and into the vault when his head was turned the other way. Too easy, she thought, moving towards the one thing in the magically sealed room. It was lined on all sides with every kind of magic failsafe imaginable, but he only worked on living ponies, not ghosts. In the center of the room was the strangest thing of all, though. The thing was all the traps meant to prevent from ever leaving. The stuffed body of Sablelome, forever frozen in a dramatic pose of him in mid-attack, as imagined by the common pony. The sacrilege of the once feared werewolf angered the spirit. He shouldn't ever have to be brought down to this level of humiliation, especially when the majority of ponies will only come to know werewolves has finally been killed off. The fact that there was at least one more whose very existence ruined that claim brought a smile to her face. Small solace, but she would take her pleasures when she could.
Oh, Sable, what did they do to you?
She said to the pony who had stolen her heart. It probably won't make a difference now, since we're both dead. But I know now trying to turn those farmers into werewolves was a terrible mistake. Except here I am, returned from the dead, while you remain frozen in time, locked away beneath the surface, only because they fear you. Even at death, they don't know what happened. They might think you could come back to life as if nothing happened. But they don't know about me. As far as any pony's concerned, I have been dead for centuries. They apparently even thought I was you. Or at least that stupid Sun Princess did when she vaporized me. However, I don't know who or what has brought me back. I will avenge you, my love. If the legacy of werewolves is to end, I will forever engrave it into the history of our kind as the strongest, most feared creature at this earth. She then reared up and kissed the unanimous stallion. Goodbye, my love. May the next time we meet be in the afterlife, where I will forever be by your side once more. With that, Fair-Fisted turned away from Sablelome and left the vault. She didn't know that idiot guard saw her that time. Those don't matter to her. There was nothing in the Crystal Empire she needed. Her only focus was on the town of Ponyville, where everything had gone wrong, but still could be possibly made right. Back at the CNC headquarters, the trio was back to the usual, trying everything imaginable to earn their cutie marks. So, what do we do next? Asked the Punta Skilu, eager willing to with the knowledge that this was the day she would get her cutie mark. If not all of them. Her hers was a sheet of parchment and a pencil for writing down ideas.
Matchmaking?
Suggested Sweet. Sweet Belt, in all honesty, you can't do that with yourself. You ever remind you of Button Mass?
Don't!
Sternly replied the teeny unicorn. Button Mass, one of the classmates of the CNC, had been suspect of Sweet Belt's affections for the longest time. The only problem was that when they actually tried to simply have milkshakes together, she found multiple reasons to reevaluate her opinion of the beanie-wearing button.
Yep, Mesviggy is off the list. School, Applebloom, you got any ideas?
When several seconds passed without response, Kulu looked up from her list.
Did you hear me, Applebloom?
The filly questioned Toto in sorrow.
Well, oh, sorry, cause they're off his place there.
Sorry, all right, AB? Asked the Pegasus, writing instruments put aside.
You've been sort of melancholy like this all day. Not even eager as you usually are for trying to get your cutie mark. Is this something about the whole werewolf thing you didn't mention?
Applebloom sighed.
Kinda. I don't know if either of you noticed, but during the time my sister was a werewolf, the cutie mark had been faded until it was barely even visible. Getting cured restored it to normal, but what about mine? I don't really have my cutie mark, but I'm afraid that because of that, I'll even get it now since I'm not a full pony anymore. Yeah, I was sort of wondering about that, commented Sweet. But didn't it go away completely now, did it?
No. I think it just faded to where it was almost not feasible. Well, even that same alone pony has cutie mark. You've been around almost as long as both Princess Luna and Celestia.
And well, you just need to try harder for your cutie mark to appear.
I have out late. Airs seemed to come back to the filly, so the prospect of finding her calling suddenly became visible again.
There's the Applebloom we know, smiled Scootaloo,
and sat back down and made to start writing things down again.
Now, back to where we were. What to do for our cutie marks?
I know,
squeaked Sweet. How about we try being fitness trainers?
Seriously? Asked Applebloom, her eyebrows raised. No, in our track record, we'll be trying to train sniffs and snails to be competitive ice cream eaters eventually.
Competitive ice cream eating,
mumbled Scootaloo as he wrote the idea down.
Well, how about we try and train you, Applebloom?
Suggested the unicorn. My? I said I'm pretty fit to work on farm, and I say some days will compare to the equestrian rodeo. I don't mean
you're forgetting the part where you're a werewolf.
Applebloom was following.
Yes, I'm aware that I'm a freak of nature now. Thank you for reminding me of that. I still don't get what...
Sleepbell shook her head back and forth.
No. I mean, we train you, so you're the best werewolf you can be.
Why would I want to be the best werewolf I can be? I don't want to be a werewolf. That's something I'm pretty sure I'm only clear 2 nights ago.
You have any idea how you're going to cure yourself?
Not yet, no.
That's why I'm saying we should train you to be the best you can be. As long as you might be a werewolf for a while, so might as well make the best of it, right?
I guess so. Probably will help with the urges to turn into a critter at any rate.
I gotta say, it was pretty cool actually,
Scoot chimed in.
You get good enough, maybe you can scare Dinah Tiara at her own bedroom window.
Okay, now late Ashley, I can get behind, agreed Applebloom. That's an evil smile to contain teeth, slightly sharper than normal pony teeth. We'll need to figure out how y'all supposed to train you for something like that, though, since I'm trying to keep the whole werewolf thing a secret.
Right,
agreed Scootsy. So with the plan settled, the 3 agreed to figure out a regimen on how to make an adolescent werewolf the absolute worst nightmare that ever came to life. Diamond Tiara was going to learn that Karma had a name. That name was Applebloom. Later that day, after the Crusaders had adjourned and gone home for dinner, a royal carriage descended from the sky above Ponyville, pulled by 2 guard Pegasi in special armor, and placed over a star instead of the usual sun. The chariot was taken over the town and landed right in front of the Carousel Boutique. Randy had just served up dinner for herself and Sweetie, who was once again spending the week there thanks to their parents, getting out to attend some old family's wedding or something, when the doorbell rang.
"I'll get it,"
said the elder unicorn as he made for the door. Opening it revealed a pretty princess on the other side.
"Twilight! What a wonderful surprise! I thought you said your next time off from, princess lessons was next week. If you let me know earlier, I would have made more supper."
"That's all right, Rarity," replied the purple unicorn. "And no, don't offer me your dinner either. I actually ate before coming here since I can't stay long."
"Oh, well, that's the case. What can I do for you, your majesty?"
While I was addressing Twilight by her new status, the Harvick made more sense to tease the young princess. I preferred her friends to not treat her as such, just so they always remembered her she was the same Twilight, only now with wings.
"I was wondering if you had that commission from me yet already. The saddle blanket for my brother? It's his birthday a week from tomorrow, and I want to make sure I have it ready. Of course, just give me a moment. I think I must have put it in some of my oldest upstairs. Ready to go to find the saddle blanket, leaving Twilight and Sweet alone in the room. So, how's school been? Asked Twilight, a question Sweet knew was coming a mile from away. Oh, it's alright. We went on a field trip last weekend to see a screaming myna. This is pretty interesting. Really? I wasn't aware they were native to this area. You're not. Miss Julie said they're only around here every couple of years or so. Selena perked up, remembering even cooler birds he encountered earlier. I saw something even rare today. A green and yellow phoenix. A what? Twilight was skeptical of that. Such animalistic variants in phoenix genetics would be extremely rare. Plus, the proud creatures normally only live towards the more arid parts of the country. Near the volcanoes and dragons migrated to every century. Where did you see it? One of Rarity's business partners had. She said it was her pet, I think. Its name was Kelly something. I don't remember. You like to press out on his horn. But I don't think even Celestia last familiar did you. So I tried not to show her extreme skepticism at this information. A phoenix of non-red coloration alone would warrant it. But the fact that it was the unicorn's pet and considered a horn, so I really found it too much to believe. While pony horns were naturally tough, being mostly a bone extrusion for the skull, which was right connected to the brain, a lot of birds sitting on it would not only disrupt any magic the user tried to cast, but the bird's weight itself would be pushing down the horn. It would be as if a metal rod was attached to one's skull, and somebody was pulling the stick down, while simultaneously using the neck as a hinge. At least, that's what Celestia had said about the one time she let Philomena sit on her horn while trying to raise his son. The idea a normal unicorn could do what Princess Celestia could not? Too outrageous. Oh, here it is, said Rarity, breaking down a neatly folded saddle blanket of telekinesis. The aura around the blanket shifted from the blue to purple as it was magically handed off. Thanks, Rarity. Just curious, but what is this about a raspberry phoenix perching on its owner's horn? Oh, and in case some of you are wondering why I'm not exactly too miffed about the whole entire Twilight being in Camelot, even though this goes both against canon and it had never made any sense to me back when everybody was worried about it in the first place, Twilight does take it doing some lessons, so I'm okay with this. Well, that's just the antics of my friend Raspberry Bennett and her pet bird Hairier. Who? Raspberry's my main gem finder. I know I can do it myself. It's not like my flight doesn't remind me of that every day. But with my workload having increased, it's just been easier to have another pony do it for me. She's always able to find the gems I need. This poor thing is so timid she'd probably be scared of Fluttershy talking to her. And this Heliodor, who I'm guessing is a green and gold phoenix? Ah yes, him. Very well behaved bird, although he loves attention. Honestly, between you and me, I think Raspberry got tricked into thinking he's a phoenix. He looks a part, but he's far too small, and the way he presses on her horn, no way he's the real deal. However, she loves him as a companion, so I don't have the heart to break it to her. Although, the phoenixes even come in green. They don't. It only fuels my suspicions. It's a smaller bird enchanted to look like a unique phoenix. As long as he doesn't do anything bad with it, I think we can let it slide. Especially if she genuinely believes he's a phoenix. I agree. I guess it's about to catch it out with you then. Yep, going to have night lessons with Princess Luna tonight. Although all this work, it'll be a challenge not to fall asleep. The two friends shared a laugh before parting ways. Minutes later, as Twilight sat in her chariot, the blanket safely stowed under her rump. The thoughts went to sleep, talking about that green phoenix and its owner. I wonder why whoever enchanted that bird made it green instead of red, pondered the princess. Even considering how rare phoenixes are as pets, there's no way some timid gem finder or ponyfield could get their hands on something like that, unless they themselves enchanted or had it enchanted. But I guess the question is, why is there a mare going around Ponyfield with a fake phoenix, not for your services as a gem peddler? The question would go unanswered, right up to the point Twilight met with the Princess of the Night. Good evening, Princess Twilight, greeted Dusky Alicorn. Good evening, Princess Luna. Before we begin, I have something to ask, which makes you somewhat random. Is it about my other self? Luna seemed to tense up at the idea this would be about Nightmare Moon. Not at all. Then ask away, Twilight. The tension disappeared, replaced by Luna's relieved expression. Twilight cleared her throat. Princess Luna, have you ever heard of, or even seen a green gold phoenix? An odd question to be sure, but I have seen a green and golden phoenix. Twilight was surprised. Really? When and where? Luna smiled. Believe it or not, it was one of the pets of Queen Faust, whom I believe you met in beauty following the death of stable Nome. When she left this world, her phoenix also left the castle, leaving behind a solitary egg. So I knew whose egg that was. So you're saying Philomela's mother was another of these green phoenixes? Indeed. That was 1,000 years ago, of what must be 100 of them currently today. There's at least one green and gold individual out there. However, I suspect the reason you're asking is because you heard a story of a pony, House of Phoenix that correlates appearing in some towns. Is that right? Tyler would have been bowled over by Luna's insight, but at this point the ascended unicorn knew better. Yeah, some pony that Rarity contracted to help get gems for her dressmaking. This doesn't surprise me. Our phoenixes are known for being wild creatures who are impossible to tame. The green ones instead tend to find a companion. You see that pony, who they'll stick with for the rest of their lives. When the pony companions die, they will return to the wild and reintegrate with their kind. That's just what my mother's phoenix, Fella, did. It's the same magical instincts that made Philomela such a loyal pet to my sister, even though she is outwardly no different from the common wild phoenixes. So I was silent at this new information. The story had gone from being far-fetched to almost completely true. One thing was still unanswered, but now Twilight knew the general idea of where to find this phoenix, its owner. The only possible course of action would be to find them and make some new discoveries. That would be time for that later, though. Thank you, Princess. May we begin now? Yes.